If your team doesn't know what winning looks like, then they're going to aim for busy. Having a great scorecard fixes that.
Come on, let's go. I don't know what comes next, but I couldn't care less. I refuse to be stressed. There's no fear in my chest. Hear the boom from my stairs. Walk away from the pain I've been through. This feeling I'm feeling is brand new. This the moment I break through.
Welcome to 10-Minute Masterclass, your weekly mic drop for business breakthrough. I'm your host and lead MC, Trey Sheneman, and it's our goal each and every week on 10-Minute Masterclass to teach you timeless business principles that will translate to help you solve today's business problems. Now, the typical way we do that is through a framework we call the core 4 drivers of growth, because whether it was taking my own startups to market, like I'm doing right now with Harold, or running growth inside of some well-known brands, growth always got stuck or stalled when we hit bottlenecks in one of those core 4 drivers of growth: marketing, sales, operations, and leadership. Now, before we jump into today's episode, if you've been listening for any length of time now, especially the last couple of weeks, you know that we got a sponsor. We got a sponsor, y'all. LiveWell Vacation Club. More information in the show notes. If you can travel flexibly, like we are an entrepreneurial family, we homeschool our kids, we can travel, opposite of the typical school schedule. If that's something that fits you and you love to go to the beach or the mountains or cool cities, and you want to travel affordably and with someone who's going to take all the heavy lifting and planning out of it, that's not a timeshare. That's important to say. Not a timeshare. It's a membership. If there's a difference, you'll see what I'm saying when you go check it out. Go check out LiveWell Vacation Club. Hit the link in the show notes. John and the team down there, they'll take incredible care of you. You won't regret it if you decide to join. We love it. We are already planning next year's, once we've renewed, next year's 2 weeks of time that we get in our membership to go to some places we've never been before. So go check it out. All right, let's get back to the content in today's episode. Today's episode, we're going to talk about operations. And specifically, we're going to talk about having a great scorecard. Most businesses set goals. They'll do offsites and planning sessions and strategy meetings, and they'll set goals. Matter of fact, many businesses will use OKRs. If you go back and look through the lexicon of episodes here, wherever you're streaming this podcast or watching the video, you'll see I did an entire episode dedicated to building and structuring good OKRs. Teams, they are willing to make and set goals, but a lot of businesses are terrible at tracking them. Today, I want to make sure that that's not you, that you actually have a plan, because at the end of the day, vision is exciting. My team gets on me all the time. I am the prototype of the vision first kind of leader. I could be a squirrel at times and just chase things, and they have to ground me and bring me back down. Vision, it's exciting, right? It's energizing. But execution is what pays the bills. And we want to make sure that our scorecards are helping us execute, because the moment your team stops guessing and starts measuring is the moment you're going to go from hoping to grow to watching it happen weekly. I promise you. So the big idea for today's episode is when people see the score, they play the game differently. But more important than that, when there's somebody who owns the score, they're responsible for it, then they're going to play to win. And so today I want to talk to you about the core elements of an operational scorecard that gets your team to play to win. The first component of a good scorecard is what's called lagging metrics, okay? These are things that have already happened. These are things like past revenue, past profit, churn, customer count, closed deals. An example of a lagging metric would be we did $150,000 in revenue last month. Lagging. These are important because they're the rear view metrics that let you know where you've come from, let you know how you're trending, let you know what is real in the business, not what is hoped for in the business. So you've got to have a good handle on lagging metrics. Now, the opposite of lagging metrics are leading metrics. These are windshield. So lagging metrics, rear view, leading metrics, windshield. They tell you what's about to happen. They are pipeline. Pipeline is a great leading metric of the potential gains of the business going forward. They tell you about the number of booked demos that you have coming up. They tell you about, events that are on the calendar where you know you're going to get a chance to pitch. This is things where you're able to see and know how you're going to trend in the near future. A pro tip here is really, really great operators reverse engineer what the leading indicators have to be to be able to know what the lagging results are going to need to be, because those two things are connected to each other. So you've got to have a good handle on your lagging metrics, what has happened, and your leading metrics, what's about to happen, or what you want to be the thing that's about to happen. Once you have those good mixes of leading measures, lagging measures, then the next thing I want you to do is ownership. I said earlier, if you give results and owner, then people are going to play to win. Every one of those metrics in leading and lagging has got to have this many names beside it. One name, okay? An owner. No shared responsibility, no exceptions. Shared responsibility in something like a scorecard is going to feel like no responsibility. There will be a lot of buck passing going on if there's not a single name there. So when you have this scorecard and you have the owner and you do your weekly review, whether it's an L10, we call ours a cornerstone, like whatever you do for your weekly meeting, then you can go, hey, so-and-so, hey, Alex, your metric is red this week. What's the plan to make it go back to green? You can have very poignant conversations with the people on your team about what's going on. So speaking of colors, once you have your leading metrics, your lagging metrics, you have your ownership, then you're going to use traffic lights, okay? You're going to have three quick little color codes beside the metric of either it's green, which means it's on track. What's it on track to? It's on track towards the OKRs that you've set for that quarter. Yellow, it's needs attention. It's getting off track. It's not all the way off track yet, but it's trending off track. Or red, it needs action because it is already off track. Now, hopefully, if you're doing this well, things are getting into yellow before they're getting into red, and you're able to stave them off from going red. But having this simple traffic light pattern up and down your scorecard makes it very easy for you as the founder of the business or the person who's responsible for the scorecard to get a quick snapshot of the general health of the business, because these leading and lagging metrics should be about the general health of the business in real time. So if you can see 8 out of 10 are green, 1 is red, 1 is yellow, that's a pretty good spot to be as a business owner. So the traffic light patterns, they give you instant clarity on exactly how the business is doing when done well. And then I kind of mentioned this a minute ago. The fifth part of this, outside of you get the metrics, the two kinds of metrics, the owner, the traffic light pattern, is you have got to have at least bi-weekly, I really think weekly, check-in meetings with your team about these 5, 6, 8, 10 kind of KPIs on the scorecard, where you're simply saying what's on track, what's off track, and what's the plan to fix it. It does not have to be a complicated meeting. It should actually be really honest and gritty and straightforward. But that operational meeting is a huge part of driving it towards the finish line that you want. Now, when you're building these scorecards out, I want to make sure they also give you some mistakes to avoid. These are mistakes I've made myself. The first of which is to have too many metrics. I kind of indicated this. I think 5 to 10 KPIs on a scorecard is a really good number. Call it 4 or 5 in lagging, 4 or 5 in leading. I think that's about enough to be able to manage it, because I'm also imagining most leadership teams and kind of managers inside of an organization, unless you're a big organization, you're not going to have more than 5 to 10 managers, as you're building, especially for the early stage. So KPIs and number of owners tends to be a good balancing act. The second mistake to avoid is to make sure that you don't have a situation where there's no context for a number. Don't say something like, well, the metric is, the way we say the metric this week is sales are down. Well, what does that mean? Down from what? Down to goal, down from the week before, down from the month before. So if sales are down, what are they down to? And more importantly, why are they down? Did leads go down? Did we do less demos? Did our conversion rate go down? So hold yourself and your team accountable for contextualized numbers, okay? And the third one is when people come in with an action plan. Now, I don't get lit too much in the job force. I really have worked on that. God has shown me some grace, and I really don't get bothered by a ton. But man, when people come in and give me a problem and don't have a plan, that's how I get sideways, if you know what I'm saying. Something we say down here in the South. So make sure that you're holding your team accountable, that they have action plans. So build a great scorecard. 4, 5, 7, 8 metrics, ownership, use your traffic pattern, look at it bi-weekly or weekly, and make sure that your team is ready. Because at the end of the day, if you want to grow faster, you have to make your team's progress visible. If you can't see it, you can't scale it. I'll say it again. If you can't see it, you can't scale it. So if you can keep the score and you make them own it with you, they're going to play to win. So this is your challenge this week. Here's your homework. Go build your simple scorecard. Follow this as a rubric, build it out, and watch what happens when they start with you. They choose to, with you, start playing the game like a pro would. You got to keep score to play it like a pro. Hope you got something out of this lesson. Don't just be one who hears. Be one who takes action. As always, thanks for tuning in to 10 Minute Masterclass. And until next time, we'll catch you on the flip side.